Nick, I've been going on about spreadsheets recently because I think it's top of mind, probably
Re-
because a few people
Recently?
have
Did you
reached
just say
out
recently? Like
recently.
people watch his show, Therman. They know that you've been going on about spreadsheets for years.
Okay, maybe a specific topic about spreadsheets is this thing where you receive external information
Yep.
because you don't have any control over it. So Nick, let's say you needed to send me some information from your organization, and
Okay.
I needed to take that information and process it into my data. A lot of times, that information would come in the form of a spreadsheet, which
Yep.
which makes sense because there's a lot of tools out there that if you need to gather some data out of the tool, you can usually export the data, and it will highly likely come in a spreadsheet, or
Yep.
you can get your common separated values, your CSVs, all of that. So that's the scenario that a lot of people are in. And I made a LinkedIn post about maybe a LinkedIn post or two or three about about this situation. Um, talking about how you should process that,
Yep.
right? So right now, someone would say, "Hey." Matter of fact, this has happened a few times where I've posted about something and somebody will swoop in and be like, "Hey, you can use an agent to do that." I'm not gonna name any names, you know what I'm saying?
It wasn't
But
me, I don't think.
no, it
No.
wasn't you. It wasn't
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Um, but I always appreciate that. First of all, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Because I'm only one person with one perspective. I love having other people come in and talk about different things respectfully, of course. You know what I mean? And especially if you're already in my network and we chop it up and all that. I love that type of stuff. So um, if you're that type of person, please keep it coming. And if you're watching this, um, so I'm like, yeah, it's agent time. Let's use an agent to do that. And I'm like, yeah, you probably could use an agent to do that. But my thought process is right now, today, you have some really powerful and cool tools that have been there for a long time. They're tried and true. You know what I'm saying? They're tested. They've been there, gone through the fire for a really long time, and they're extremely reliable. And you can bank on them doing the thing that you need. For instance, you get the spreadsheet in, and let's say as soon as you upload this spreadsheet to a library, you want a process to run off.
Hmm.
You just want a process to happen immediately because it recognizes it's that spreadsheet. So you upload it, you have a Power Automate flow that does a thing. Maybe it extracts information out of the spreadsheet, it updates your collaborative SharePoint list, and everybody moves from there. Maybe an email is sent off that says, "Hey, the new data is in. It's on the new spreadsheet." Blah blah blah, whatever, stuff like that. Um, I'm like, yeah, Power Automate for the typical end user is right there. Go ahead and use it. Now I did make a post, and in this post I said, I bet if someone was to do this using AI, an agent, or whatever process you're thinking about inside of the AI world, you're gonna keep double checking those numbers. You wouldn't feel as confident as you would if you were using Power Automate. Now,
Hmm.
I don't know if
Hmm.
I said you, the end user, if I said me, Thurman, I would feel more confident. I probably talk about my clients. I don't think that a person today using AI would run that process and feel comfortable with the numbers. They would be double checking it. So I think that that's where we are today. A majority of us are there today, and like we spoke about on this show, especially from our generation. I think in the future, as AI continues to mature, you'll become more confident with the numbers that it gives you the first time and roll with that. But right now, as you mentioned before we turn the mics on, it is a technology choice that I presented there, and I said, yeah, use Power Automate instead of a Copilot. That's what I would recommend to my clients today. What say you, Nick?
Well, I think it's interesting because there's a lot to unpick in what you've said, Thurman. The first piece is you present an option for a process that you want to do, how you're going to go about doing that process. And you feel the pushback that someone or a lot of people, or at least a segment of people out there, are going to think that the answer is AI. Doesn't matter what your process is, the answer is AI. And there's
Mm-hmm.
another big segment sitting on the other side of that issue for whom that just causes revulsion. The idea that the answer to these things is AI. And there's a whole set
Mm.
of people sitting in the middle who have stuff to do, who are not sure how to do it, and are looking for the opportunity in whatever it is we're doing here. Whether it's Power Automate, whether it's, I looked at your post and I was like, why didn't he offer Power Query? Like a little bit of Power Query goes down nicely when it comes to these kinds of things as well. So there's
Love
that
it.
option there. There's a number of different things that you could do with that data, but the concept of this idea of, well, AI is going to be wrong, AI is going to need double checking, we have deterministic ways of doing it. Like, there are organizations, most organizations, sitting on data that could help them to do whatever it is they do in a better way, or to understand their customers better, or to understand their team members better, or to generate more revenue, or to have less cost, or whatever it is, whatever it is you're trying to do. But the barrier is a wall of information, right? And you've got information that comes out of this system and that system, and is sent to you by
Mm-hmm.
this vendor and that vendor, and it sits there and it's lovely to have. But are we truly leveraging it, right? And so you have scenarios where you've actually invested time into getting that data out of whatever it is you've got it into and used it in some other way, and that might be Power Automate, it might be Power Query, it might be Power BI, it might be there's lots of different places you might do in that. Should anyone today, if they're happy with that, be like, oh, the answer to this is AI, I'm just going to throw that all away? Absolutely not. That would be stupid. Like, why would anyone be doing that? But
Mm-hmm.
flip this around on the other side, that you haven't built all of that stuff. You don't know how to build all that stuff. All the stuff that I just said, power this, power that, power something else. You have no clue what I'm going on about, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you have access to Microsoft 365 Copilot. Are there risks involved in relying on Copilot to do all of that data processing still today? Yes, there are less risks than there were maybe a couple of years ago, but yeah, there are still risks there. But is it a bigger risk to your business that you have all that data sitting there that could be doing something useful to you that you're not doing anything with because you're not sure how to get over that hurdle? And I feel like more and more that needs to be the conversation that we're having about AI. AI is not the right answer definitively to any problem. But AI can be the right answer to some problems in certain contexts. It can be the right answer to one person might have it as the answer to a lot more problems than another person, and that's perfectly okay. But this idea that we're making a judgment based on technical differences rather than contextual differences of what it is we're trying to do and the barriers that we've had to doing that over time, I think is the wrong conversation in my view. And we need to get much more into that nuanced conversation versus the tech people being like, I love AI, I hate AI, I love AI, go use Power Automate. It just is not a conversation in my view that the people who would get the most benefit out of this actually understand or want to participate in.
Yeah. So, okay, I actually wrote something else about this too, where I was like, hey, so if somebody came to me and said, hey, you can now, with prompts, build yourself a nice car, I'd be like, that ain't that useful to me because I don't know anything about cars to where I can build myself a dream car.
Hmm.
So I could prompt my way into what? Like I don't know what the engine needs to be and air intake and, the weight, I don't know what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd probably pick a car that I think is nice and then say, hey, build me a car that's like this. But is that really in my vision? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I just be copying whatever exists, which I guess that's better than going and try to literally take tools and build the car myself. So not even I guess that is better because I would just copy a Lexus or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But now if we're talking about, let's say John in accounting, and we walk John through this process, John gets this external spreadsheet. One day, John gets fed up and says, "This is too much. Every time I do this, I need to, make this an easier process." So they start getting into calculated columns and hiding the data and doing some macros and getting fancy inside of their spreadsheet. And they're like, "Yeah, this is much better. I like it." Then new tools start getting presented to them. They find out about this thing called Power Query, where you can click your way through it and it saves you steps. So now it's like you're not the only person who knows about this. You can share this with other people, and you can detail the steps that your document goes, that your data goes through Power Query. This is great. So now you find out, but there's another tool, some Power Automate tool that can do stuff inside of the document, and it can do stuff outside of your record. It could do things with the whole entire record that involve other people. Oh man, this is cool. And then you hear about Copilot, and then it's like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that I can just regularly speak to the data and I'm good? This is great. Let me try it out. Here's the issue that I have, or maybe I'll say challenge. It's not an issue yet. Let's just call it a challenge. In the macro situation, in the Power Query situation, in the Power Automate situation, you can check. You can easily do a check. You can put things in place that do a good check, and there's no disclaimer that, hey, this thing might not work. It's as good as you make it. I wanted to capture all these columns. I want to add my own columns. I wanted to do some calculations on those new columns, send me back some information. Hey, now I got Power Automate. I could take the data and put it in Power Automate and tell it to send me an email, all summarized. This is great. But the last tool that you told me about, Copilot, it has a disclaimer on it that says it might get it wrong. So then now I have to add a new step in where I'm like, okay, I'll tell Copilot to do it, but I need to go review it myself, which I guess that's fine. But these long-standing, powerful, proven their worth tools, I think is a better choice. And and I think you pointed out that I made a technology choice because I don't like to lean on the technology. As much as I scream about technology all the time, it's not about the technology, but a feature difference is that in these tools that have been around for a long time and you can depend on, you can even build in your own custom kind of check. Maybe you could do that in Copilot, and maybe I don't even know about it, but that's what my thought process comes from. It's just like if you're choosing, power and longevity and tested, and the collective of people know about this thing. It's like, I think I'm gonna go with this one because it's held it down for so long, and I can quote trust it more than I can trust the Copilot today.
I think this is the issue with AI generally versus Microsoft 365 Copilot, though, in that Copilot in Excel, you ask Copilot in Excel to analyze a spreadsheet, and you get it to create a new sheet for you that's got an overview of what's in that spreadsheet. It's all formulae. It's Excel formula. You can go in, you can check the formula, you can make sure it's looking at the right ranges, you can make sure it's got the right formula in there. If you've got the ability, the technical ability to understand Excel and to understand how a formula is built in Excel, then you 100% do have the ability to check that what Copilot has done in Excel is correct. Now, you go off to a chat-based experience like Copilot Chat, and it becomes a little bit more fluffy because, you are chatting. It's using some Python in the background to go off and do some analysis. If you understand Python, you can take a look at what it's built, but, just because you understand Excel doesn't mean you're going to understand Python. So it's a matter of what are you trying to do and where are you trying to do it? The other day I was doing a training that aligned to this very, very well, actually, on Copilot and Excel, where I asked Copilot to actually merge together quarterly data, so different spreadsheets for different quarters, the type of thing that we see where, you've got a folder where it's each quarter you've got download, or each month you've got a download, or whatever it might be. Copilot, can you go ahead and can you merge all this stuff together and can you do some analysis on it? And Copilot goes ahead and it pulls in the data. Now, am I going to go through that row by row and check that data? No, but I can see in the spreadsheet that, I've got the right number of rows, I've got the right number of columns, so from that point of view, has it done that job correctly? Now, if something is important enough that there's a huge amount of risk associated with the decisions that you might make from it, then are you going to go down a more deterministic path where you're using Power Query to bring together all of that data, or using Power Automate to bring together all that data? Yeah, probably. But if it's something where you're using Excel as a scratch pad, and the barrier is, you know, the amount of different data sources, maybe it's kind of mismatched. Copilot can now show you stuff that makes sense in Excel. You can track back where it got numbers from. You can track back what the formula is, and so a lot more you can actually leverage the skills that you have with Excel. And I think this is the direction that that Copilot is going in. Across the board, you know, like you create a PowerPoint deck, and it's an editable deck. It's not just a set of pictures. Like, you can go in there and you could use your skills in PowerPoint to edit what you've got in there. So this is the beauty of AI integrated into Microsoft 365, right? But it's still not the answer to everything. Like, it's only the right answer where the problem fits. And to my view, the right solution has to be driven by an understanding of where might it go wrong and where is it likely to go right. You know, because you're coming into the conversation, you're up to speed on a lot of this stuff, Thurman, and yet this industry, this technology is moving so quickly at this point that you're talking about the Copilot or the AI experience in Excel that maybe we had 3 to 6 months ago. You're not talking about the experience that we have today. And that's the problem, that a lot of our kind of biases about this technology are built on the history of it versus where it is right now. Yet it's not reasonable to ask every user to be going in there and trying the same task again and again until it works for them. You know, that we have to have balance on that as well. So it's like, well, what's the right point to jump in? And where's the point that you step out and you say, hey, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm just going to use Power Automate instead.
Right. Yeah. And I I don't think that AI is, let's say, not good. Like, I don't think it's not good. I obviously think it's a powerful and cool technology that it's excellent when you see somebody who knows what they're doing with that thing just work it. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. But if I'm John from accounting, maybe I got 5 years in. You know what I'm saying? I've been to college, I know my thing, and I'm 5 years in, been to a couple organizations. I'm pretty good at what I do. It's 2026, and all the technology is where it is today. Do I go to the Copilot and start having a chat, or, to your point, you know, if I use the other interface where I can see the codes and all of that, where do I go if I'm getting um this external spreadsheet from a different organization? Maybe, you know what? I work at the federal level, but I work with a lot of state organizations. These state organizations are doing their own different thing, but they do give me the data. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Just give me the data how you give it to me. So now I got multiple spreadsheets from the state. If I'm John and it's 2026 and I got 5 years in and I know kind of what's going on here, and I heard about Copilot, I know it's at my fingertips, maybe my decision making isn't, hey, do I use Copilot to put these things together, or do I use Power Automate? There's some other decision that I'm making. Like, so to your point, when you were like, instead of a technology choice, I got to make some other choice. I don't know what that choice is, but it seems like Power Automate, Power Query, tested, tried, true, been around a long time. We know we can get the job done there. Copilot may or may not be able to get the job done. You know what I mean? Or I don't really know yet. Or if it was me, maybe I'm not John. If it was me and I had a bunch of different data sets, the first thing I'm going to try is, hey, can you analyze all of these and put them together in one data set for me? That's probably where I would go first. Does the average person, John, an accountant, does he make a decision to say, oh, this seems like a job for Copilot? Or is it, hey, Copilot is the future. 9 times out of 10, I'm giving it a shot with Copilot first. Like, I don't know what the new decision should be.
mm,
in
mm.
that role. I think you're alluding to the fact that maybe we don't know yet what John an accountant would do.
Well, I think we do, and I think the first question is: are you feeling a pain point that's making you look at AI, or are you feeling FOMO that's making you look at AI?
Okay, I like
Because
that. I like
if
that.
you've already got a perfectly reasonable process that works for you, that feels like it's efficient, that you don't have the time to redesign from the ground up, maybe that's not the thing that you're going to turn to Copilot for today. Is there the potential that it could help you? Sure. But there's also the potential that you could get stuck kind of knee deep in a whole bunch of like stuff that you don't understand, or you're not quite sure what you're getting out the other side. You don't know the value of it. I often
Mhm.
say when I'm doing Copilot training, you have to experiment with this in order to get value out of it. But the right time to experiment is not when you're breathing down a deadline. Like when you're running to that meeting. The right time to experiment is on a Thursday afternoon when you don't have a lot on your calendar and there isn't a lot of pressure on you. Like experimentation has to come with the option of it all going wrong, or that's the wrong time
Yeah.
to experiment. And so thinking
Hmm.
about this from the point of view of, well, how do I bring this into my different workflows? Well, first of all, is there a pain point that we're actually trying to work out? Like, do you not enjoy that work? I think that's valid. Like I hate bringing
Hmm.
together all this data. You're John, and you're like, I hate having to look at all of these spreadsheets. I get to the end of an afternoon where I'm doing this, and I've got a headache. I feel de-energized. I just have to go home and lay on the couch for the evening because I hate doing this work. But there's other things in my job that I enjoy doing a lot more than this, or I feel I add a lot more value. I think that's a valid reason to look at AI as well, because that's one of the
Hmm.
promises of AI is to make work better for everyone. But if there's no pain there, if it's something that you enjoy, if you've already got a good process to do it, if that process feels efficient, it's giving you the answers that you need, if you want to spend an afternoon exploring AI to see if there's a way to do it better, that's fine. But if you need that report on Wednesday afternoon, the right time to do that is not 11 a.m. on Wednesday morning.
Right. So you just made me realize something that I love doing that. That's probably where my thought process was coming from. Because matter of fact, the other day, um, one of my clients, uh, a mega church, sent me an email. They're like, "Hey, we're trying to do X." The email includes a spreadsheet, a couple Word documents, another spreadsheet, um, maybe there was something else in there. I don't remember, but we have a Word document with data placed in it
Mm-hmm.
that should be in a basic table. Another Word document with data combined with some written text. The spreadsheet, it had data, but it wasn't clean. It was like duplication across multiple tabs, different contexts of data, all this kind of stuff in multiple spreadsheets. I sit there and I'm like, I'm in heaven because I'm like, I want to look across these things, make sense of them, gather them all up in some clean data, and I cannot wait to present this back to the client so that they could see all of this extra stuff that they were doing that was totally unnecessary. Look at how cleanly we can put this all together, and then leadership can view it. You can interact with it. Like, look at this. Maybe my thought process, not even maybe, it has to, that's in my brain. My thought process came from someone who loves to do that, like loves putting together
Mm-hmm.
the pieces and mixing, figuring out where you were slipping, and then I could help you out and say, oh no, that puzzle piece goes here, and look at the final version. If you're not into that, you just want to get your paycheck, and that is not something that you're interested in doing, maybe you might look at Copilot, feed it these documents, and say, hey, here's what the client is looking to do. They got all of this data and they don't know how to put it all together. Can you please at least get me started and show me where there's overlap, how I should think about different data sets? How do I put this together? Get me started. What can you do here?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm John, an accountant, and I don't like doing what I just explained, 1,000,000%, that sounds like heaven. because then I could move on to the new piece, which is, or I can move on to the new piece faster, which is I got the data ready. Now maybe I enjoy building a dashboard, but I don't like cleaning up your data. That's annoying to me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the decision comes behind. I guess what any decision comes behind. Like, do I enjoy doing this? To your point, is there a pain point? And the pain point might be like, look, this feels like torture, and I don't want to do it. So I'm going to see if the AI could do it. And like you said, not doing it on a, you know, on a morning of when you got some big presentation due, or you're tracking highly sensitive data, and you need to be a little bit more meticulous about it. You know what I mean? So this has been good. This is I'm seeing the light.
Well, look out, everyone, for Therman's next LinkedIn post. He's gonna approach this one a bit differently going forward. There we go.
Yeah, definitely. I love to learn, you know what I'm saying? So I like this thought process here, like where I could dig a little bit more deeper on my thought process. That's actually why I try to stay away from saying things with my chest, because I'm the type of person who I'll scream it loud and proud, but I'm willing to, take another course or understand things you ever heard the more you find out, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. So I like being in that position all the time. I like learning. So yeah, I think that it's all about John, an accountant, having new decisions to make, or maybe the same old decisions. Should I take training? Should I not? Is this a better time for me to, experiment? Do I enjoy doing this? Like, this is the thought process of how you can move into the world of trying the old school tools versus the new stuff that's a little bit shaky. Because I mean, that's what I do. I'm a part of that. So I get it. This is good stuff, Nick. As usual. I love it. Good deal. Listen, I know we got a short episode today, but what you got before you get out of here, Nick?
Well, I would just say jump over to the other YouTube channel. I've been a little bit quiet on YouTube recently, but I've got some good stuff coming up, including some more Copilot conversations. There are going to be some interesting Copilot features in the next few weeks. So if you haven't subscribed over there, go and subscribe. And Therman, other than going and following you on LinkedIn so people can see your next post, where should everyone go and find you?
If you got TikTok, swing over to TikTok, but also YouTube. I will not stop talking about how, if you go to my YouTube right now, there is a video that shows you how to use SharePoint to create a task list. Go try it. You know what I mean? Because can you put a task list in a spreadsheet? Yes, but this is better. Can you use things like Planner and all that? Absolutely. But you got to remember, for whatever reason, today, Planner does not have a recycle bin. So if somebody goes rogue on your team and they want to delete a bunch of tasks or one important one, you're cooked. If you're in the Microsoft 365 suite, you also got Microsoft To-Dos. That's cool too. But here's another option that you get to customize using SharePoint. So go check it out. Nick, what you said you got some Copilot conversations on the horizon. Do you know what the next one might be?
I don't know which one is going to become available to publish first. So
okay, right.
I'm going to have to leave it as a bit of a teaser, because
a little bit of a mystery.
There's some interesting stuff coming. There's some interesting stuff coming up. I'll put it that way.
All right, good deal. All right, well, Nick, we will see you again here in 2 weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for watching.
All right, take care.